Guys, I got a bunch of articles pulled up here for today's recap of Joe Biden's first solo press conference, and I got to tell you, all of them are just so mean, and I just don't know why. I mean, Uncle Joe really did do a great job up there. He definitely didn't say that Trump was soft on China. He was standing up there. He was definitely behind the podium the entire time and didn't wander off like a senile old man. Definitely wasn't 10 minutes late and probably just wandered into the other conference room and started talking to an empty group of people, and he fielded all the real hardball questions. I mean, oh, come on, he did a fantastic job. If you suffer from brain damage, what a unmitigated disaster. Okay, well, to be fair, okay, and this is not trying to tell a joke. I didn't have much of an expectation when this was announced. I didn't even know it was going to be at 11 o'clock my time today. And whatever. It's a fucking press conference. But he took softball questions, didn't answer questions, or didn't receive any questions, rather, that he should have been answering. Like, okay, how many hundreds of thousands of people have actually died since you've taken office in the first 65 days? It's closing in on 160,000 people dropping dead of COVID. They pressed a little bit on the migrant crisis. And of course, instead of answering any of those real questions, he made a complete and total asshole out of himself by just inventing an individual to compare to Jim Crow. It was as cringe as it sounds. But here's a little short list, and then we got a few other different topics, because I wasn't lying to begin with when I said that we got some really mean articles. They might be mean, but they're also fair. So here's just a quick top 5 list of things that Joe Biden said in his about, 45-minute press conference? Somewhere in that area. It was supposed to start at 11:15. It didn't get started until about 25 after. And, of course, you can always watch it. You can watch it on about 2 times speed, but I wouldn't bust through the press questions that quickly because they were all behind masks, or 2 masks if you're a pew-bedecked loser from I forget which outlet it was. But there was more soy in that press conference, or in that press corps, than every Starbucks in Seattle. First and foremost, Biden claims I miss former President Donald Trump. You and me both, buddy. At one point, Biden was asked if he was going to run for re-election in 2024, since former President Donald Trump has already indicated. He hasn't really indicated, he just kind of dropped hints. But yeah, Joe Biden also kind of did something a little bit weird about that as well. And that's one of the other articles that I have pulled up here. See, he doesn't look any less stupid in any of these pictures, and I really hope that he does. I keep waffling back and forth if I think he's going to make it through his entire term in office. I hope so, because this is 65 days into his first term, and it's already this press conference, Jesus Christ, watching Biden today, it really rubbed off on me. It was really, a confirmation as to why they're keeping him so tightly under wraps and not letting him answer any questions, even though he was always looking down and reading some of his answers off of sheets of paper. Really just kind of lending into that thing that I was thinking, that he was definitely getting those questions screened beforehand. But this is as good as Biden's going to look. And another thing, I don't know if it's brought up in any of these articles here, something else that I noticed, and I pointed out in the previous presidential debates as well, and yes, we'll harken back to that for a minute. At about that 45-minute mark, somewhere in that area, the entire tone, the attention span, the hand gestures, the movement in total of Joe Biden made a fucking wild shift. Like, he started to become a little bit more aggressive. He started to lean into the desk a little bit more. Everything just kind of started to fall apart, just like it would around that same time frame when he was in the debates. So whatever they got him hopped up on, it's got a half-life of about 30 minutes. That's all you can get out of Joe. It's sad, right? I don't know. Feel free. If anybody else watched the press conference as well, you can point that out as well, or you can just take a look. Things starting to come unhinged about halfway through. But he did soldier on, and he did complete the press conference, so you got to give him points for that, I suppose. But like it says here, Biden plans to run for re-election in 2024. It was also shocking what else he put in this response as well. President Joe Biden said Thursday that he's planning to run for re-election in 2024 following anonymous sources reporting saying that he would be a one-term president. but I've also referenced it a couple of times that I've seen it, and this getting confirmed because it was one of those, I guess, poignant questions, 65 days into his first term, that you need to already ask him, oh, please, Uncle Joe, will you run again? Like, shut the fuck up, we get it, you love the guy. The answer is yes, my plan is to run for re-election, Biden said at the White House. That's my expectation. I have great respect of fate. I've never been able to plan 3.5 years ahead for certain. Ugh. And that's the part I'm talking about. You're the fucking president. As much as it's hard to believe, and for you to remember, you should be the guy who should be in charge of long-term planning. If you don't know if you're going to be running in 4 years' time, you could say, I anticipate it, but what we're focusing on right now is much more important. The situation at the border, because it's him pushing gun control. Typical Democrat things, whatever him and his handlers want to talk about. But no, you don't come out and blatantly say, yeah, I don't really want to plan too far into the future because I don't know if Kamala is going to push me down the stairs again or make me trip over my dog. I can't quite plan that far ahead. That was shocking. That was something a lot of people aren't pointing out, but the fact that he can't plan that far ahead, they just blatantly said that should have just been a collective slap on the head moment by the press corps, but they were too busy with just writing their little hearts with a JB loves press corps, little grade school heart on their fucking notebooks. Anyways, I guess they missed this part. Yeah, my predecessor, oh God, I miss him. Does he also have TDS dreams as well? That'd be interesting. He said sarcastically before confirming his plan to run. Oh, those debates between a 81-year-old Trump and a 82-year-old Biden. I got my timelines mixed up. Again, see, I watched this and it's very, very taxing on my brain. Trump will be 78 in the fall of 2024 and Joe Biden will be pushing 82, which is shocking, but also telling because like this press conference, you'd hear just this coherent stuff walking by an old age home. Biden suffers another brain freeze. At one point, Biden suffered a brain freeze and caught himself in the middle of a meandering thought. Oh, there were plenty of those as well. So the best way to get something done, Biden pontificated, if you hold near and dear to that, like to be able to anyway, we're going to get a lot done. Like finish that sentence. After completing his statement, the president turned to his prepared list of the reporters to prompt the next question. Okay, hang on. Sorry. Ugh. It was just kind of sad at that point. Like, he had all those names on the list, and it's like, obviously, okay, it'd be impossible to keep, CNN, BuzzFeed, ABC, NBC, everybody's name straight. Like, Kristen Welker was there. I'm pretty sure she would have been representing NBC. She asked one of the questions. I forget what it is because they were all needlessly unimportant, but she asked several follow-up questions. None of them were terribly pointed, but she at least answered or asked about 2 or 3 more follow-up questions. Yeah, and here's the big one, okay? Jim Eagle. Now, Don, what does that mean? Well, that's what happens when you cannot make an analogy on the fly. Harkening back to voter integrity, that apparently the Republicans are pushing so many of election integrity bills at the federal level. If you're Joe Biden, that's what you think. That's not the case at different state legislatures, but whatever. Biden attacked election integrity bills being considered in states like Georgia and Michigan. It is sick, he declared. This makes Jim Crow look like Jim Eagle. He said this. Who the fuck is Jim Eagle? What the fuck is Jim Eagle? Is that the name of his pet parakeet? Is that the man that he always refers to when he's saying, come on, man? Or is that somebody else that he met at the pool back when he was a lifeguard and Corn Pop was there because he's a bad dude? That still makes me laugh every time. So maybe that'll just be the first thing for the Biden presidency. Oh, who is Jim Eagle? I'd make sure his unclear answer is clear. Oof. This could have been a multitude of things. One reporter wanted Biden to commit to letting reporters into facilities crammed with illegal aliens near the border. I think this is what Kristen Welker was on about. Biden refuses to say when he'll be transparent about the border crisis. Oh, fuck, yeah, this. Okay, yeah, he was asked, this question right here. I will commit to transparency as soon as I'm in a position to implement what we're doing right now. How soon will that be, the reporter asked. I don't know, to be clear. Yeah. Marking on the fact that there's a total media blackout. Nobody's allowed to go down to Donna, Texas, photograph everything that's going on. The only people who are leaking the photographs are Project Veritas. And they're showing how many people are being stuffed into the cages. Oh, they're pods this time around. Whatever. But media is supposed to be transparent. You're supposed to be transparent. There's supposed to be freedom of the press, not slathering dick sucking of the press. Yeah, but you know how that reads? That reads, oh yeah, once we get everything all cleaned up, then you can go down when it's less full. And kids haven't been sticking around for fucking 45, 50 days. So it might take a while. Biden gets snippy with a reporter recounting conditions in border facilities. That was the main thing going on in this entire press conference, okay? If I got to give credit to the press, they were at least hitting multiple times on the crisis at the border. They weren't asking terribly pointed questions, but they were at least hitting on this point over and over again. And this was after that 45-minute mark. This was at the time when he was starting to get a little bit angry, a little bit upset. And I was like, why are you asking me these questions? I'm the president. I need to go home. Can't you guys see? It's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I should be getting ready for dinner by now. And he was leaning into the podium at this point. I can't remember if he walked off and came back by that point, but this is where we're at. ABC News reporter Cecilia Vega, told Biden she had returned from the border yesterday and described the crowded conditions in Donna, Texas, after Biden's administration had encouraged migrants to come to the border. What is your reaction to some of those images that have come out from the particular facility? Yeah, the ones from Project Veritas and the Democratic congressman from one of the districts right along the southern border in Texas. Is what's happening inside acceptable for you? When is this going to be fixed? She asked. Is this a serious question, right? Biden responded with a huff. It is acceptable to me. Come on, lady. Fucking hell. That's just some of the stuff that the Breitbart pointed out. This was another thing Biden said, apparently. And also his opening statement. It was, okay, the reason I showed up 10 minutes late, the reason I'm waiting for so long is, you know what? We're on a good trajectory when it comes to coof vaccines. And you know what, man? We're going to reach that 100 million people, man. We're going to get there. And you know what we're going to do before my 100 days is over? We're going to get 200 million people vaccinated. You got that right? Yeah, it's not exactly news, not exactly the strongest foot to start with, especially when you said the exact same stuff during the 1-year anniversary of the first lockdown. So, some people in the press corps have very, very short memories. Case in point, there was a totally real, 100% factual story that came out of a 9-year-old kid from Honduras, or El Salvador, Guatemala, which, funny story about that, but we won't stack these stories on top of one another. We'll get back to that one. No, the kid came up. It was sent by his mother, okay, to come up to America to have a better life or whatever. Kudos to that kid for actually, going up. That's not exactly an easy trek, and I'm sure he definitely wasn't raped along the way, or at least have drugs stuck up his coolie or whatever. But long and short of it was, oh yeah, this kid's just coming here for a better life. Would you send him back? And Biden said, well, if he has an identifiable mother back in whatever third world shithole he came from, we would definitely send him back, because you don't really have a right to just tread across the border. He said a little bit more Biden-y, but that was the entire gist of it. And then CNN on their after show completely and utterly made that different point as to what Biden actually made. They said that, oh yeah, it was so stunning and brave that Biden said that he would accept that 9-year-old across the border and he would allow him to have amnesty. That's what they said, not but half an hour after he made those remarks. And if we're going to go back to the stories of El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras, 3 of the most violent countries in the world. It's like El Salvador or Guatemala has the highest murder rate in the entire world. And what did he say is the reason why these people are trying to flee from those countries and come to the great land of the free, home of the brave, the United States of America? Well, he said because of natural disasters like hurricanes and floods. This fucking dude has lost the plot. That is a little damp, so we're just going to make the 1,000-mile trek through Mexico. Literally, we wouldn't stop anywhere else. It's not that we're getting paid for it. It's not like you're promising free healthcare. No, it's the fact that natural disasters happen in Central America. Fucking moron. But anyways, yeah, Biden. I don't know if there will be a Republican Party in 2024. Are you saying what you're thinking, or is this just like, are you trying to vocalize your make-a-wish wish? Like, what? I don't get this one. President Joe Biden said, "I have no idea if there will be a Republican Party in 2024. When he asked if he will run for re-election, Biden said it was his expectation to run for re-election, but failed to say definitively if he would. CNN's Caitlin Collins pressed him, so if yes, if you're running for re-election, yes, once again, saying that, I don't plan that far ahead. Stop asking me questions. Can I go home now? Oh, come on." When asked about running against Trump again. "I don't even think about, I have no idea. I have no idea if there will be a Republican Party. Do you? Let's do some push-ups. Come on, fat. I know you don't have to answer my question, but I mean, do you?" I think he's asking because he genuinely doesn't know. Sad. Just sad. I mean, look, this is the way I view things. Okay, here we go. "I become a great respecter of fate in my life. I set out a goal that's in front of me to get things done for people I care about the most, which are hardworking, decent American people who are really getting it stuck to them." Oh, you're facilitating that action, pal. And again, let's harp on the fact that he tries to drag Republicans as racist or something. I don't know. GOP election integrity efforts make Jim Crow look like Jim Eagle, because we got to bang that gavel again. I cannot let that one slide ever again. Their election integrity efforts un-American and sick. Why? Because showing any form of identification as somehow racist and bigoted? Ugh, come on, pal. You got to do better than that. You're the leader of the free world. God, can you believe that? Can you believe this? Basic election integrity efforts led by the GOP lawmakers in D.C. and state legislatures are un-American and sick, making Jim Crow look like Jim Eagle. Every fucking time. That better be a response to everything his handlers tweet out for him. WWJCD. Not Jesus Christ. Change that C. Switch it over to an E. Biden echoed the rhetoric touted by progressives in the House and Senate, voicing urgent concerns over basic election integrity measures pursued by Republicans. "What I'm worried about is how un-American this whole initiative is. It's sick. It's sick. Deciding in some states that you cannot bring water to people standing in lines waiting to vote." Yeah, that's definitely what they're concerned about, Joe. And if you took a look at some of those polling precincts in the inner cities, they were fucking barren. Milwaukee, Pennsylvania, the lines weren't that long, but you made sure that your banners were out there before they needed to get stripped down. No, that's the entire crux of this. It's bringing people water, you fucking dolt. Deciding that you're going to end voting at 5 o'clock when working people are just getting off work. There's this thing. Forgive me for having to explain laws and rules to the president. Your employer has to give you an hour or two to go and vote. I'm just saying that's been on the books for a very long time, but I guess a guy who's never had a job in the private sector for longer than a couple of months probably wouldn't know that provision's there. Because when you're an elected official, you can just show up whenever you want, and maybe you can vote or not vote for something whenever you want. But yeah, you're allowed to go and vote on election day. Fucking, I don't care. If there's a compromise where, oh, okay, sure, you can hand people water in lines, or we won't shut the polls down at 5 o'clock, which this is news to me, but what do I know? I just cover this stuff a lot. Sure, we'll keep all polls open until 8 o'clock in the evening. That's fine. But you know what? We're just going to make election day a federal holiday. Everybody can show out and come on out. Aren't going to enforce it or anything, but the mechanisms to get there are totally fine. That's fine. That seems great. But it's one fucking day. It's one fucking day. Deciding that there will be no absentee ballots under the most rigid circumstances. Your terms are accepted. I'm going to spend my time doing 3 things, he continued. Follow me closely. He said 3 things. 1, trying to figure out how to pass the legislation passed by the House. Number 1. Number 2, educating the American public, the Republican voters. I find this despicable. I'm not talking about the elected officials. I'm talking about voters. Voters. There is no number 3. Sorry to disappoint everyone. Literally, there's no number 3. Biden did not list his 3rd item of action despite previewing 3 things. He says he plans to spend his time doing in regards to these efforts. So that's just not me cutting this off or being out of context. It's just what happened. But what about gun control? The one thing that Joe Biden's done, even though it was a gigantic failure and eventually got overturned, the 1994 crime bill that banned assault rifles. And then it got overturned. But he's back and he's going to try hard again. It's like divorcing your first wife and then trying to get back with her. Poor Joe. that was his fate. He was widowed. He's still trying to live that out. Now he's just extrapolating that point because he's the leader of the free world, and he thinks that laws and rules and regulations are a place where you can go ahead and project that type of insecurity on whatever. President Joe Biden, responding to the question on Thursday on when to push gun control measures, promised a series of actions to regulate the sale of firearms, but said his next agenda item pertains to U.S. infrastructure. Yeah, this is the one where everything kind of went off the rails for Joe. He was asked, okay, what about gun regulation? Let me tell you about infrastructure. My fucking God, my dude here. All of the above, it's a matter of timing. Let me tell you about my $3 trillion infrastructure plan that's coming. Fucking retarded. Listen, let me be clear. Come on, man. No, it is a press conference, okay? It was an old Obama, Bush era press conference where the dude gets up there, stands behind the podium, a bunch of sycophantic press corps people come up there, ask their pre-screened questions. Biden gives his pre-screened answers. At about the 45-minute mark, old man starts wandering around. He starts getting a little bit testy. Now it's time for him to go to bed. I'm sure a 3-day weekend is definitely coming. Camp David and those Mario Kart arcade machines are probably calling to him. So don't expect much out of Joe over the next couple of days. This probably took a lot out of him. I mean, come on. He had to stay up practically half of his night to get through this press conference. It was whatever. I don't really care. He didn't say much. He just kind of meandered over things, and he didn't shit his pants. So I guess that's probably a win for him. But we got to talk about the Supreme Court being fucking retarded. So let's get on that. I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.